Not the news Steelers Nation wanted to hear this morning. Head coach Mike Tomlin delivering the bad news that quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, who injured his right elbow in yesterday's loss, is out for the season.
You know, from a team perspective, we had a great deal of confidence in Mason. It's the natural process that is team sport. One man goes down, the next man steps up.
I think Ben's going to approach it the right way. He's going to be there for Mason as much as possible. We're going to need everybody on this journey.
You know, we all believe in him that he's going to step up, do the job.
You know, he would want me to step up and try, lead the best of my ability, and then I'm going to do what I've always done and step up to the plate.
We've been active, obviously, in the last 48 hours or 24 hours or so. We went out and acquired Minkah from the Dolphins. He will be playing the safety position this weekend in the game. We're excited about infusing him into the fold.
Tonight on the Mike Tomlin Show, get to know Minkah Fitzpatrick, the newest member of the Steelers defense. Coach Tomlin talks about his new starting quarterback, Mason Rudolph, and just how good is this 49ers defense. Coach breaks it down for us. All of that and so much more as the Mike Tomlin Show starts right now.
The Mike Tomlin Show is presented by 84 Lumber.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. I'm not even really sure where to begin. This past week, not only did we see the Steelers lose their second game in a row, but they also lost their franchise quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, for the season due to an elbow injury, and that was just by Monday afternoon. It seemed that Mason Rudolph taking over the reins for the 2019 Steelers would be dominating the headlines for the week. Then came Monday evening. And in an unprecedented move by general manager Kevin Colbert, the Steelers dealt their first-round draft pick for next year to the Dolphins for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. This week was anything but quiet, but let's send it over to Bob Pompiani and Coach Tomlin to help cut through the noise.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Heading to week number 3, but what a busy week it's been for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and unfortunately it started with the news that Ben Roethlisberger would be out. Coach Mike Tomlin is here to talk about that. That's just one of those blows that, every NFL team knows it's possible. Your reaction when you found out?
Obviously an extreme level of disappointment, and a level of disappointment for Ben, a level of disappointment for us. But all of us in this business knows what comes with this business, and injury is part of it, and that's why you insulate yourself with quality players and work your tail off to have as good a team as you can have. It's also an exciting opportunity for a guy like Mason Rudolph, who's been working his tail off since he's been here, to prepare himself to deliver for us in this opportunity.
He looked really confident, and obviously I think through the preseason we've seen a totally different quarterback than this time last year. What has he done to make you confident in what he can do?
He's gone through the natural maturation process that we expect players to go through. Your second lap around the track, we expect to see significant evidence of that growth and that experience. It's no different than what we ask of second-year running backs or wide receivers. He's done similar things. First of all, he showed up in great physical conditioning, reflecting his knowledge of the journey that lies ahead. And secondly, he's just grown in all areas. He's worked to improve his body. He's worked to improve his overall understanding of the game. He's getting the opportunities to display those things, and I think it's natural to expect big things from him.
I know back in 2004, this is very similar to Roethlisberger when he first came in for Tommy Maddox, who had the elbow injury back then. Back then, they seem to simplify to some degree. Do you have to do that for a guy who's, first time around the track?
Not in ways that you would feel. There are certain responsibilities that you put on a veteran signal caller that you might not put on him, but it's nothing that the viewer or someone with a naked eye would recognize. It's just about distributing responsibilities, pre-snap responsibilities, line of scrimmage communication. We got a veteran offensive line. Guys like Marquise Pouncey and Ramon Foster and David DeCastro are fully capable of identifying fronts and potential blitzers and things of that nature. Some of the things that you put on a veteran quarterback such as Ben, you'll have an opportunity to distribute among others.
And then, same day, late at night, you guys were here all night apparently. There's a trade which brings Minkah Fitzpatrick here. There was a lot of talk. Teams wanted him. It's a really high-end talent, but you had to do something that maybe took the Steelers out of their comfort zone and surrender a first-round pick.
I went to both of Minkah's pro days when he came out. There's no secret that we were in the market for a safety. When he came out, we ended up drafting Edmonds later in that draft. But Minkah, we looked at hard. We knew it wasn't possibly a realistic venture. We knew there was a possibility that he could go early in the draft, but we did our due diligence. A short period later, we have an opportunity to have two really impressive young safeties on our roster, and that was an opportunity that was too good to pass up, coupled with the fact that Sean has been through a number of injuries, most recently his shoulder. And so we needed to fortify depths at the safety position, and at the same time, boy, we got a top-tier talent, some young talent, some guys that we can maybe build around for the upcoming years.
That should be interesting to see, and we expect Minkah to be out there this week, correct?
You can count on it.
All right, you'll get to see him on KDKA. We got the game in San Francisco. It's their home opener, and that's a pretty good football team at 2-0, winning both games in the Eastern Time Zone. When we come back with Coach Tomlin, we'll talk about that challenge. That's next for the Steelers right now. What's next for us is a return to Missy Matthews.
Thanks, Bob. Fitzpatrick joins a Steelers defense that has 9 other first-round draft picks that are either current starters or backups. That's a lot of pedigree. Coming up next, I asked Minkah what the biggest challenge is getting ready to play for a new team in the span of 5 days.
You know, football is football at the end of the day. The terminology is the thing that's the hard part to learn, but if you tell me to go cover the curl flat, I can cover the curl flat.
Number 91, Stephon Tuitt.
He's hit. He's sacked back across midfield. Stephon Tuitt, first man to him. Wilson in trouble. Sack on the second straight play. It's Tuitt.
And this Pittsburgh defense is on fire to start this football game.
When you're 6'5", 350, generally you don't got great feet. Stephon Tuitt is so quick and so good with his hands.
Takes a handoff. He's hit. Stephon Tuitt was in his grill again.
They had a defensive line meeting at Russell Wilson.
Wilson rolling right, another flag. He throws out of bounds.
And he definitely got a shirt full of Tuitt, who's had a great game today. If you're going to hold the ball against this relentless Pittsburgh Steelers, you're going to take some hits.
Since the dawn of free agency in the NFL, fans of every team have always played the what-if game when those big-name players either hit the market or put on the trade block. Traditionally, Pittsburgh has always been known as a more conservative team in the league, so Steelers Nation has learned to not hold its collective breath when it comes to big moves. But last April, when the team made the biggest jump in the first round of the draft since 2003 to select Devin Bush, it was a clear sign that times were changing. And on Monday, the Steelers made the biggest franchise move since 1967 in acquiring safety Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins for a first-round pick. Conservative no more. It's been a quick transition for Fitzpatrick, who landed in Pittsburgh on Tuesday and will be starting tomorrow afternoon. I had a chance to catch up with the former first-rounder during his whirlwind first week. All right, welcome to Pittsburgh. Let us know, how did you find out about the trade?
Late last night, I got a phone call from Chris Greer, the GM over at the Dolphins. We had a little conversation, and at the end of it, he pretty much just told me that they made a deal and that I was going to be heading to Pittsburgh.
First thoughts when you hear you're now a Pittsburgh Steeler?
I was excited. Honestly, you know, Pittsburgh is a historic program. Always been known for a great defense. Coach Tomlin is a great coach. Spoke to him a couple times before the draft last year, and you know, I just had a real good feeling about him, and just as a coach and as a man. And I told my mom after I met him, I was like, he's a coach I definitely would like to play for, you know, one day. And you know, I'm excited about it.
You said that when you were still at Alabama.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes,
what was it? What was the interaction that made you say that?
It was just the way he carried himself. You know, I obviously had seen him coach before on the field, and then I got to meet him in person as a man, and it just affirmed everything else said about him. You know, he's a player's coach. He's easy to talk to. He wasn't trying to be too cool or too mean or anything like that. He was just being himself, and he's definitely something, like I said, that I'd love to play for one day.
Do you look at this as a fresh start? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a fresh start, clean slate. And you know, it's another opportunity just to prove myself, what I could do, you know, and just you know, just adding to this team.
What do you like about playing safety?
I like that you get to move around, do a bunch of different things. I think when if you play certain positions, you just, you do the same thing every snap, or you don't get to move around. With safety or just defensive back in general, there's a lot of flexibility. You can do a lot of different things. You can blitz, you can cover a half, you can cover the middle of the field. So I definitely like that aspect of it.
Coach Tomlin already said Sunday in San Francisco against the 49ers, you're going to play safety.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that come, new team, new playbook, just new city, new everything, and being inserted right away?
Yeah, I think you hit them all. It's a new playbook, new team, new players to play with, new coaches to work with, and I think football is football at the end of the day. It's the terminology is the thing that's the hard part to learn. But if you tell me to go cover the curl flat, I can cover the curl flat. But when it's green 72 right, it's a little bit different. But that'll come. The more reps I get, the more film I study. But yeah, just gotta keep working at it.
So what are you gonna have to do this week besides going out to the practice field, sitting in meetings, just to make sure that you feel you're at your best on Sunday?
I'm gonna have to be in the playbook heavy. I'm gonna have to communicate with my teammates and coaches heavy. Just get comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? Just get comfortable with going out there and just playing with this new team and this new staff, because I want to go out there and be able to play fast. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to think. I don't want to have to over-process it. I just want to go out there and be able to play fast, play with my instincts, and play my game.
Up next, it's another NFC West divisional opponent as we visit the San Francisco 49ers. Bob and Coach tell us what we can expect. Don't go anywhere.
The Mike Tomlin Show is presented by 84 Lumber. Are you 84 material? Visit 84lumber.com/careers to learn more.
Well, the mission is simple: win. The Steelers have to fly across the country to play a 49ers team that's on the rise and getting better. They have their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, healthy and put together a defense that makes them formidable. Let's send it back over to Bob and Coach to give us a scouting report on the Niners.
All right, Missy, thanks. Should be a tremendous atmosphere out west, San Francisco. And this is why the NFL is the most watched league. You never know what you're going to get. There's so many good teams. Talent is level in most cases. And boy, San Francisco has been one of the surprises, Coach. 2-0 in both those games on the East Coast, which a lot of people think is a real difficult thing to do to start your season.
Well, they got their quarterback back, first and foremost. Garoppolo is a really talented guy. He's really found his footing in that environment since they acquired him a couple of years back. He's healthy and he's at the controls, and you see his command of the offense. He's doing a nice job of spreading the ball around to a bunch of eligibles. Their tight end, Kittles, is really impressive, not only in terms of his pass catching ability, but his run after ability is really unique for the position. You couple that with some real speed outside and Goodwin and a nice young guy like Deebo Samuels from University of South Carolina. They're doing a nice job of spreading the ball around.
They ran for over 250 yards against Cincinnati. What was the key to that run game?
It starts there, first and foremost, for us. We got to have a good tackling game, and they do some things with misdirection and things of that nature that really puts a premium on tackling. Because of the misdirection, you're not going to have 11 men flowing to the ball in the ways that you do in terms of some of the gang tackling things. There's going to be potentially more open spaces and more one-on-one like tackles. At least it was in Cincinnati, and that was one of the things that created the score and the splash plays that you saw.
All right, from the eyes of Mason Rudolph, looking at that defense, you mentioned they're ball hawks. You got Richard Sherman in there. D. Ford came over from Kansas City. What's Mason got to be watching for?
It's interesting how divisions have personalities, and when you look at the NFC West, man, there is some similarities this week in terms of how they're built to Seattle, who we just played a week ago. Predominantly a four-down group that plays a lot of people in that four-down group. Those are generally the guys that provide the pressure. They thrive on creating pressure with those four people. They got some pass rush specialists that they will highlight. Obviously, the acquisition of D. Ford and the drafting of Bosa are two significant components of that. They got really good cover people in the back end. I mentioned divisional carryover. Richard Sherman started in Seattle, and now he's in San Francisco and playing in a very similar fashion. They got long, combative corners that are good on the line of scrimmage. They thrive on creating turnovers, interceptions, caused fumbles. They're spot drop zone defenders. They got vision to break, much like Seattle.
Real quick, they have their opening game this week in San Francisco. They got to be pumped up for it. What do you expect from that point of view, and how difficult is that challenge?
You know, their crowd's definitely going to be into it. This is the National Football League. When you're playing on the road, it's our job to make enough plays, and particularly make enough plays at the early stages of the game to kind of quell that a little bit. And for us, that's a significant component to play offensively. We can't warm up to possession downs. We can't have 3 and outs in the ways that we did in the first couple of games. We got to start faster.
All right, when we come back, Missy, final word from Coach Tomlin getting set for San Francisco. That's later in the broadcast. Back to you, Missy.
Thanks, Bob. That 49ers defense will no doubt give Mason Rudolph a really tough look for his first NFL start. They've put together 7 sacks and 4 interceptions through just 2 games. This current 49ers team has been put together by general manager John Lynch, a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer that was once coached by Mike Tomlin.
Man, you're talking about a guy with tremendous football character, a guy that lived out the things on the football field that football lovers hold near and dear.
You know, it was a great opportunity to get in the Boys and Girls Club. You know, we had Boys and Girls Club growing up, so it was always fun to be a part of that. And just to come out and actually help back now and just see the progress that they're making is an absolute blessing.
You know, as Bobs, we're always very glad to be involved with all these great organizations and Boys and Girls Club and the Steelers organization, and just being able to help and give back some. We love being part of the community.
You know, you just give kids the opportunity to actually see people in the flesh, you know, not just seeing them on TV, actually seeing them in the community. That gives them a better perspective on what it takes to make it and be in your shoes, and also, you know, let some of the kids know that you've been down some of the similar situations they have been in their life.
1, 2, 3.
Before Mason Rudolph donned the black and gold, he earned his bachelor's degree in marketing, along with being a highly decorated signal caller for the Oklahoma State Sooners. He amassed 54 school records and finished his career as the winningest quarterback in school history. Rudolph was promoted to the starting position on Monday for the Steelers, and anyone in marketing worth their weight knows that with every great promotion, there needs to be a great product in order to have a successful campaign. And that campaign for Mason Rudolph starts tomorrow in San Francisco. With Ben Roethlisberger out for the season, Mason Rudolph is now the Steelers' starting quarterback for 2019. Number 2 is drafted out of Oklahoma State by Pittsburgh in the 3rd round of the 2018 draft, but the Steelers didn't shy away from admitting that Rudolph was graded higher by them heading into draft weekend.
Mason had first-round grades on him. We thought that he can be an eventual starter in this league at some point, and we just hope that Mason is who we think he is, and time will tell.
And that time is now, starting on Sunday in San Francisco against the 2-0 49ers.
First week's good. It's I was excited just knowing, really the last time I got a full week's reps was in the training camp for the first 2 preseason games. So just having the muscle memory of the week, going through all that is it's priceless, and I really enjoy, thought we've had a good couple days. Made some mistakes yesterday, but that's just the process, my process of the week. You're not going to be perfect, your first practice, so it's a kind of a process, and you want to work out the kinks.
Coach Tomlin made it clear the team is confident in Rudolph, who took over in the second half of the Seattle game, completing 12 of 19 passes for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 1 interception.
This is a pass, touchdown, and that's Vance McDonald from Mason Rudolph from 3 yards out.
Great play fake by Mason Rudolph.
Tomlin said he came into training camp in better physical condition than his rookie year and was very consistent throughout this past preseason.
He's fully in, man. That kid's committed, man. You always like kids like that, are hungry, and they want everybody to look at him as a great quarterback.
Mason's a great quarterback. He's smart, he's strong, he's big, he's fast. He's ready to go. I can tell you that much. You can see it in his eyes, the way that he practiced, the way he's been practicing. And I think he's ready to go. He's going to do great.
At least 18 quarterbacks, including Rudolph, age 26 or younger, are expected to start for their respective teams in Week 3. This hasn't happened in 32 years, since Week 3 of the 1987 season. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Mike Tomlin Show presented by 84 Lumber. As always, before we say goodnight, let's get some final thoughts from the head coach.
All right, Missy, thanks. When you're in the NFL a long time, you cross paths with a lot of people. Coach Tomlin has done that with a lot of guys, and one of them happens to be someone who's in charge of the San Francisco 49ers, your good friend John Lynch. I'm sure you have plenty of stories.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Talk about him as a player, but now making the role into a GM.
First of all, I am not surprised by his ability to do the job that he holds now. John is a football lover, no doubt, through and through, but he's also a really sharp individual. Stanford man, you know, and I think that reflects his abilities to meet the needs of the job. But, man, you're talking about a guy with tremendous football character, a guy that lived out the things on the football field that football lovers hold near and dear, legitimately tough. Legitimately a team-first guy, would sacrifice himself for the cause. He's a leader that stands in front of a group, and he's easy to buy into because his very existence it was living out the things that I'm sure he holds near and dear in the position that he has right now.
Nobody knows him better than Mike Tomlin. When you spend that much time with a guy, you know what you're dealing with. So.
There's no question, man. We had a lot of fun together. Unbelievable guy. Tremendous football player.
And now he is part of the opposition this week. The Steelers got to head to San Francisco and try to get that first win. It won't be easy, but you'll see it on KDKA TV. Coach, thanks very much for your time. We look forward to doing it again next week.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Mike Tomlin Show for this week. For Missy Matthews and Mike Tomlin, I'm Bob Pompiani. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel, right here on KDKA TV, 1135. Have a good weekend, everyone.